Hey guys, so this video is going to walk you through the best practice symposium assignment. I'm going to give you a sort of a big picture of what this assignment is supposed to do and then walk you through step by step what you need to do to complete the task. And I have two important pieces of information here to help you walk through this with me. So first of all, you should know that in order to get a teaching license in North Carolina, you have to show 6 evidences as an educator. And those evidences we have built into your teacher education program at different points along the way. One of those evidences will be your transcript when you complete the program. One evidence is the content paper that you wrote at some point in your program. Another evidence, 2 of the evidence actually, are your teacher work sample. One of the evidences is a form that's going to be signed at the end of your student teaching. And then the 6th evidence is this assignment, the best practice symposium assignment. This is your 6th evidence. So it's a really important assignment. It's one of the 6 evidences that we send to the state when we recommend you for licensure. We say, yes, this student teacher is ready to obtain a license in North Carolina because this person has met these 6 evidences. The 6th evidence for which the BPS is assigned is to show that you possess leadership skills and collaborative skills. So the 2 main goals with you working on this best practice symposium is to demonstrate leadership and to demonstrate collaboration. So that's one of the reasons that we won't let you complete this assignment on your own unless there's some major extenuating circumstance. This needs to be something that you work through with other folks. So that's a big picture of what the best practice is and what it's designed for. Let me walk you through some more specifics. So for the best practice symposium, you are trying to show in your school and district that you can be a teacher leader. And this is really important because when you get a job as a teacher, one of the areas you're going to be evaluated on by your principal is your leadership. And that's not just being a leader in the classroom, but that's being a leader in the school, being a leader across the district. So not just closing your door and taking care of your kids and your class, but stepping outside of your classroom walls and getting involved with things at the school level and the district level and even beyond that. So this is an assignment to help prepare you for that. What you're going to do to complete this assignment first is to locate your school district's technology plan. So in the state of North Carolina, every district is required to have a technology plan. Now, most schools are not going to have a school-specific technology plan, but every district should have a district-wide technology plan. You may be in a school where the principal there created a school-specific technology plan based off of the district plan, but I think that's not very likely to be the case. So your first thing you need to do, if you haven't done it yet, you need to do it right away. Find where that technology plan is. Start asking people. First, get on your school district website. See if you can find it in the technology department section. If you can't find it, talk to your cooperating teacher, talk to your principal, get the email address of somebody in the technology department, get your hands on that district technology plan. That's your starting place. You have to start there. So go ahead and do that as soon as you can, like this week. Then what you're going to do with the other folks in your group, so the folks in your group would preferably be folks from your school or district. So as long as you stick with folks from your district, you should all have access to the same technology plan. Now, folks like Diego who are out there in a different school and don't have other peers in their school building or in their district can still find some commonalities here. So what you're going to do, let's say we have a group of student teachers at Blackburn and you get your hands on the Catawba County District Technology Plan. What you want to do is read through the technology plan and really understand what it says. The technology plan will be a plan that the district is saying, these are our technology initiatives. This is what we're prioritizing. This is what's important for us when it comes to technology. These are the things we're working on. So they'll have several goals in place. They're goals that they're working toward. And then underneath each of those major goals, you're going to see some action steps. So because we're working on this goal, these are the action steps we've put into place. So maybe you have a school district that's piloting a bring your own device. They're trying to do a bring your own device program where students can bring their own tablets or their phones or their computers to school. So maybe you have a district that's trying that out and they have some action steps that might be, communicating with parents through some parent nights, writing a district policy about the rules for bringing your own device and consequences and that sort of thing. So the district would have already said, these are things we're doing to help meet the goal. Your job with the Best Practice Symposium is to find a way to help support the district's initiatives with the goals they've selected. You're going to be as specific as possible, so you want to pick one goal from that plan. They might have 5, they might have 8. You're going to pick one of those goals that you think you can do something about, something to help them meet that goal. And then you need to see what action steps they already have in place. So let's say you pick the bring your own device goal, and you want to read and see what action steps do they already have in place, because you don't want to do something that they already have going on. That's not going to be very helpful. So they already have these action steps in place. They're making progress. You're trying to find a gap, a way that you can help them meet this goal, something that's not already in place. Maybe the parent communication piece of the bring your own device plan is missing, and you want to take care of that. Or maybe nobody's really communicating to the students what's expected of them when they bring their own device. Or maybe they haven't really addressed how they're going to train teachers to work in a classroom where students are working on so many different types of devices. Maybe that's the thing that's missing. What you're going to do is try to help this school work toward the goals that are outlined on that district technology plan. And again, you don't want to repeat what's already being done. You want to try something innovative, something different. You'll see here that the first criteria on the BPS rubric is innovation. So something that's unique, something that's innovative, something that's not already happening there. So first step, get that technology plan for your district. Hopefully you already have a group of folks you're working with. So look through that plan and decide on a goal. Then you need to attend some sort of professional learning opportunity that is aligned with that goal. What we're recommending to you is to go to Digital Days on October 31st. That's being offered by Newton Conover City Schools. So that's a conference that they hold every fall and spring. It's a full day of technology workshops. We've even had students present there before. So if you're interested in presenting a technology workshop, if you get in touch with Professor Fry, he can hook you up with the right people for that. But that's a full day of free professional development that you can go to. That's October 31st. Registration is not open yet, but as soon as we have that information, we'll get it to you. So you could go to that in October, or if there's something else that you are aware of, a state conference, a local conference, a webinar you found, somewhere you can go and get information. The idea is that you recognize a need that the district has, and that you're going to try to learn something to help address that need. And then you want to actually implement something that you've learned. So let's go back to that bring your own device idea. So maybe you've identified that the problem with bring your own device is that the teachers don't really know what to do when they have 25 students and they're all on different types of devices. The teachers need help managing that. So maybe you're going to go to a session at the Digital Days workshop that's about how teachers can use Google Docs to manage, when every kid in your class has a device. So maybe you go to this session about Google Docs and you're taking really good notes and you're thinking through, okay, how does this go back to that technology plan goal? And then you're going to get together with all your folks who've been to this session with you, your people in your group, and you're going to talk that through. Okay, here's what we learned, and let's narrow it down to what's the big thing we can take away from this? What's something we took away from this that we think we can help this district with? What we don't want to happen is for you to learn 12 cool things about Google Docs and then put together a presentation about 12 cool things about Google Docs. It's much better if your BPS is super laser focused. So very specific, very focused. This is one thing that the teachers can try. Some of the worst BPS presentations I've seen are ones where people try to do too much. So don't give a presentation that has 12 different strategies, 12 different things to do. Nobody is going to take anything away from that. They're just going to be overwhelmed and think, wow, that's so much. I don't even know where to start. You need to focus on one thing. What's one specific thing? It could just be a small thing, one specific thing that you can put in place, that teachers can put in place, that the principal could put in place, that parents could put in place that could make a difference toward this goal. So you're going to go to the workshop with that focus, with the focus that you want to take one thing away that then you can bring back to your school and help them implement this technology plan. So you go to this Google Docs workshop, let's just say you go to a Google Docs workshop and you learn, oh, this is one thing the teachers can do if they're in a bring your own device setting and they do this thing with Google Docs. This would really help them manage it because kids can use Google Docs on any device. It doesn't matter if they're working on their phones or if they're working on a Nook or if they're working on an iPad or if they're working on a laptop. They can all do this one thing with Google Docs. And I think if teachers knew this, it would make such a difference. So then you're going to get together with your team and think about how can we share this information with teachers, because teachers would be the people who need to know that. Or if you learn a strategy that can really help parents in the situation, then you're going to figure out how can we share this information with parents. Or if you learn something that really needs to be shared with students in the bring your own device setting, then you're going to think about how can we share this information with students. So we want you to give a presentation to the real audience that would be affected by your strategy, the thing you want to implement, the thing you want to try to make a difference with. You're going to give a presentation about the thing you learned, the one major focus that you're taking away. You're going to give a presentation on that. And we are going to come to your presentation. So we'll have a couple of faculty members from LR to come and see your presentation. We're going to evaluate your presentation using this rubric. I'm going to walk you through the rubric in a minute. But we want the presentation to happen in the authentic place where people are working on this thing. So if it's a strategy for parents, maybe you're going to give a presentation at a PTO meeting or a parent night. If it's a strategy for teachers, you might want to ask your principal, can we have 15 minutes at your next faculty meeting, or can we come work with a grade level team during their grade level planning? You're going to have to figure that out, work with your principal to get that scheduled. You need to start scheduling something as soon as possible. Even if you don't yet know what your strategy is going to be, it would be wise of you to go ahead and talk to your principal and say, hey, I think we're going to be presenting to faculty, or I think we're going to be presenting to teachers, or I think we're going to be presenting to parents. Can you go ahead and help us schedule something? The sooner you ask, the better, because faculty meeting schedules get busy. PTO meetings get busy. You need to go ahead and get on the schedule somewhere. Even if you talk to Mr. Hefner at Blackburn and you say, hey, we need to present sometime in November. Can you go ahead and tell us when's the faculty meeting in November and put us on the agenda? We have no idea what we're going to talk about yet, but go ahead and get us on the schedule. So it would be wise of you to go ahead and take care of that as soon as possible. If you wait until the last minute, you may find that your BPS is due to us, but you haven't had a time to present it yet. And that's not going to be good. So go ahead and work on getting that scheduled. But the goal here is that you're going to give a presentation to the teachers. Let's go back to this Google Docs example. Again, your audience could be students, it could be parents, it could be the principal, it could be teachers. It's going to depend on what your strategy is. But let's say, again, your strategy is this thing that teachers can do with Google Docs in a bring your own device environment. So let's say you've put together this presentation. You want to teach teachers how they can do this thing well. Remember, just this one thing. You want them to take away this one big thing. So you're going to put together maybe a Prezi or a PowerPoint or a Google presentation, something to teach them how to do this thing. And you're going to give this presentation maybe at a faculty meeting, maybe at a department meeting or a grade level meeting. And you're going to show teachers how you can do this in their classrooms. And again, you're trying to help them work on this one goal that you've identified from their technology plan. In that presentation, it's really important that you communicate why you are doing this. Because what happens is the teachers or the parents or the students, whoever's there, are going to be looking at you like, why are you telling me about Google Docs? Okay, I get that Google Docs is great, but I don't understand why you're doing this. You need to start with the big picture, just like I did here, starting with the big picture. You need to tell them, okay, we looked at your school, your district technology plan, and on your technology plan, we saw that you have a goal for a bring your own device pilot that you're trying this year. And we saw that these were some of the action steps that you have in place. But we felt like this was one thing that was missing. So we went to digital days and we learned blah, 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 blah. And so today we're here to help you do this thing with Google Docs in your classroom. So set the stage for teachers so they know what you're talking about and why you're talking about that to them. And then tell them the thing that it is that you're working on. Give them the steps that they can do in their classroom. Or if it's parents, talk to the parents about what they can do. What do they need to know about bring your own device? You're going to give the presentation, but you're going to keep tying it back to, this is all important because on your district technology plan, it says such and such. So you need to make sure you tie it back there. Now, you also need some sort of support to help teachers implement this. So you're going to be sharing with teachers or with parents or whoever some specific steps that they can take to actually do this thing well. And another important piece that I'll talk about when I go through the rubric with you is that you are going to need a way to gather data to show whether this thing you're doing is actually making a difference with a district technology plan. Now, you don't actually have to have all of the data collected. You could. It really depends on how soon you get started and on how big or how small your idea is. But the goal would be, ideally, that you would put some plan into place where you can gather data to see if what you are doing is actually making a difference with the district technology plan. So that data might be, a survey. You might send a survey to teachers one day and then send a survey 3 weeks later and see if what they're doing is what you've taught them is actually happening in the classrooms. Or you might just talk to teachers. You might interview a couple of teachers. You might interview parents. You might do a student survey. It really depends on what your strategy is. But the idea is that you would have some way to measure whether what you're implementing is actually making a difference. Now, if the timeline doesn't allow you to actually do this data collection, if you can't find the time to make that piece work, you have to at least have a plan in place for how you would do that if there was time. So you need to tell us when you give the presentation. One way I could follow up about this to see if this is working is I could do A, B, and C and show us what that would look like. Here's a survey we could give out. Here's the focus group we could do, or here's the questions we would ask parents when we talk to parents. So if you don't get a chance to do that data collection piece, you need to at least have a plan for how you would do that. Another piece of that presentation that you give, which is B here on this slide, is you need to share with us the timeline of this whole process. So this is the day we met and looked at the district technology plan. And this is the day we met to decide what our goal was going to be. And this is the day we went to digital days. And this is the workshop we went to. And this is the day we met to talk about what our action step was going to be. And this is the day we met to work on our presentation. And here's the day we actually did our presentation. And here are the days we're going to follow up with our survey. So that there's a very clear timeline that shows us and the teachers and everyone else who's interested the process you went through from start to finish. And on that timeline, it needs to clearly show who was responsible for what. So you may have 3 or 4 members in your group, and we want to know who went to the workshop. Hopefully everybody does. We want to know who was involved at each step of the way. So let me go to the rubric. This is how you're going to be evaluated. Again, you're giving your presentation to a real audience, an authentic audience at the school who cares about this thing because this is their technology plan. But a couple of us from LR are going to come and support you and watch your presentation. And we're going to use this rubric to evaluate your presentation. By the way, we'll also be videotaping your presentation. So we're going to record it for you and you'll be uploading it to TaskStream as Evidence 6. So for Evidence 6, you'll upload the video that we will get to you. And you'll also upload the presentation that you create. If you create, some slides or whatever you create to share your thing with your folks, that you'll upload that thing. So you'll upload that and you'll upload your video, and that's all you'll need to have uploaded for Evidence 6. So this is the rubric we're going to be evaluating your best practice symposium on. The first is innovation, and you can see here it's clearly spelled out for you what the difference is from accomplished to proficient to developing to emerging. If you score at the accomplished and proficient levels, you're going to be fine. You're going to pass this evidence. If you have some developing and emerging areas, you will probably be asked to do some revisions and to present again. And we've had that happen quite a bit. But if you pay careful attention to the rubric, you should have no problem scoring proficient and accomplished. But if you leave out one of these big pieces or really mess up on one of these pieces, we may ask you, we'd really like for you to revise your presentation. And sometimes it needs to be, you really need to do that whole presentation again, but maybe you'll just come to campus and give it to just a few of the faculty. Or it may just be, we just need you to add a couple of slides that clearly state blah, blah, blah. You don't need to present again, but we want to see more information about such and such. But hopefully you're going to be familiar enough with the rubric to know that you're definitely in the accomplished and proficient range. So you can see here what's required for for innovation in the BPS. Again, this is something that's not already happening. So it says beyond what is provided by the university or school district and applied to the target goal. So you're going above and beyond what they're already doing at the school. One example of this, it doesn't necessarily apply to the technology plan, but in the past, we haven't used the technology plan for the BPS. This is our first year focusing on technology. And let's say instead of technology, it was, you chose a literacy goal or something. And so you want to help teachers use Letterland. Well, they're already using Letterland in your school, let's say, and the teachers have already had a lot of training on Letterland. So if you come in and do more training on Letterland, that's not innovative. So that's something that's already happening. So you're trying to bring in something innovative that's not there yet. Content. So this is really just the key here is to make sure that it is clearly and substantially related to the goal on the district technology plan. We shouldn't be sitting there thinking, okay, how does that relate to the goal? I don't really see a connection between this thing and this thing. In your head, it may be very clearly connected, but you need to communicate that with us. How does this work with Google Docs really closely relate to this step on the technology plan about bring your own device? Make that very clear. So just making sure your format is clear, that you're communicating well. Again, you're going to provide your timeline that shows us what you did at each stage of the process. Show us each member of the group what were their roles and responsibilities. It should be clear to us that this was collaborative. One thing that will get you a low score here in the collaboration criteria is if it's obvious to us that you guys split up the tasks and didn't talk at all. And person A does part A, and person B does part B, and person C does part C. And on the day of the presentation, it's really obvious that you did one part and somebody else did another part and somebody else did another part. So this is a collaborative assignment and you all need to be involved all along the way. Now, some people can take the lead with certain tasks and certain roles, absolutely. But then you need to come back together and say, well, this is what we did and this is why I chose this thing. So everybody can speak intelligently about it and it doesn't look like you divided and conquered the roles there. And here's the data collection piece I was telling you about. And again, if you don't have the data, at least having a plan in place to show how you would do that. And then finally, creativity. So that's the BPS presentation in a nutshell. That's about as thorough as you're going to get right now. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me or stop by the office, talk to Bandy, talk to me, and we can help you get started.